This April is the 50th anniversary of National Fair Housing Month. I'm Annie. Join me to learn more on this law you can use. April is National Fair Housing Month, and to celebrate the 50th anniversary of this designation, we're talking to Jennifer Heapy. She's the CEO of Greater Dayton Premier Management, Dayton's housing authority. Thanks so much for being here with me, Jennifer.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Let's start off by defining fair housing. What is it, and why are we recognizing it this month?
Sure. So the Fair Housing Act was actually passed in 1968, signed into law by then President Johnson. And what it is it's a federal law that prohibits discrimination in the sale, rental, or negotiation of housing based on race, religion, national origin, or color. It was later then amended to include disability, sex, and familial status. It's very important because at the time it was a groundbreaking piece of legislation. But at this 50th anniversary, it's time for reflection, also to look and see what we can still do to further fair housing.
So what is a housing authority, and how does it work?
So a public housing authority is actually a political subdivision. It was created under the Ohio Revised Code, but later we started receiving federal subsidies from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and we are charged with the task of providing clean, affordable, safe housing for low-income residents.
So there are some housing assistance programs available to people who qualify. What are they, and just briefly, how do they work?
Sure. So across the country, there's probably about 3,000 housing authorities, and the programs that we provide are public housing, which are the housing sites that we actually own and operate. We're responsible for the maintenance and the upkeep of the property. There is another program called Housing Choice Voucher, and that was actually created by President Carter back in the 70s. And what that is it is a subsidy that our residents can take out into the private marketplace, and they negotiate their rental and their lease directly with private landlords.
So what is reasonable accommodation?
So under the Americans with Disabilities Act and also the Fair Housing Act, we are required to make our programs accessible for individuals who have disabilities. And that can come in many different forms. It can be a modification to a policy or a procedure, or it can be an actual modification to one of our units. So some examples of that could be someone who is visually impaired. We would have to provide them with other means of being able to read their documentation. It could also involve allowing someone to have a service animal within their premises, or like I said, it could lead to a modification such as ramps and different things to make it handicap accessible.
If I want to get some more information on fair housing programs, what are some resources available to me?
Sure. So my first recommendation would be to visit the HUD website, hud.gov. There's a tremendous amount of information on that website, both detailing what your rights are as an individual, but also if you want to be able to file a complaint, you can do that through the website. I would also recommend there's many fair housing agencies located throughout Ohio. We have one here in Dayton, and they assist individuals if they feel that they've been discriminated against.
All right, well, those are all of the questions I have for you. Thank you so much for joining me to talk about fair housing today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
If you have a legal topic that you'd like to learn more about, follow the Ohio State Bar Association on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, and write to us using the hashtag #LawYouCanUse. And to learn more about fair housing and several other legal topics, go to ohiobar.org/lawYouCanUse.